Hey guys, welcome back to Mr. Herring's 5th grade math. Today we are going to be continuing our unit with multiplying, or our fraction unit, and today we'll be continuing the multiplication part. So today I can multiply a fraction by a whole number using a model. Now don't get confused with finding the part of a whole. This is a little bit different. We're using a different type of model today. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're multiplying fractions and whole numbers. So how can you use a model to show the product of a fraction and a whole number when the whole number is too small to divide equally into the groups? If you remember from yesterday's lesson, we had something like 3/4 of 16. And the model told us to take 16 and divide it into 4 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. We get 4 in each group. I count 3 of them, so the answer is 12, right? But what if we have something like this? We have 1/2 of 5, where I can't divide 5 equally into the groups of 2. That's the question we're going to ask today, and we're going to be shown 2 different types of models to do that, okay? So look at this problem. Multiply 3/4 times 2. First thing I notice is, can we divide equally the 2 whole number into 4 equal groups? And the answer to that question is no. So what do we do then instead? Well, here are 2 models. The first model is 2 separate pictures, okay? So the first thing I do is I take my whole number and I draw 2 whole of my whole number. So here you notice I drew 2 circles. That is my whole number 2. And I took each whole number and I divided it into fourths. I cut it into fourths because my denominator tells me to make it into fourths. And then I shade 3 of each one. And then I have 3/4 plus 3/4. And this is a lot like repeated addition. Okay, so 3/4 plus 3/4 gives me 6/4, which gives me 3/2, which gives me a mixed number. 2 goes into 3 one time with 1 left over out of 2. Okay, that's called 2 separate pictures. The second, well, and I guess let's go back and look at that. So let's review what we just did. Our whole number tells me how many circles to draw this time. The denominator tells me how many pieces to cut each circle into. And the numerator tells me how many to shade. So we're shading 3/4 of 2 whole circles, okay? So the second one is one picture representing the whole. And I'm going to rewrite the question over here so it's a little cleaner. So notice I drew a strip diagram to represent the whole. And we have 1, 2 whole. And I'm dividing it into 4 pieces. So at the bottom, I divide it into 4 pieces. So I drew 4 pieces. But notice that it's not a fourth, because if I have 2 pieces under each whole, each one would be worth a half. Okay? So if I shade in 3/4, 1, 2, 3, you'll notice that we have 1 whole shaded and 1/2. Now I'll tell you that this model, the first model, is a lot easier to use than the next one, but it's kind of a preference. Okay, so let's look at this one. 2 separate pictures. 2 times 5, 6. The 2 tells me the whole number, so I need 2 circles. And the 6 denominator tells me how many pieces to cut each whole into, so 6 pieces. The numerator tells me how many to shade, so 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. 5, 6 plus 5, 6 equals 10, 6, which equals 5/3, which equals 1 and 2/3. Now, one picture representing the whole. My whole this time is 3. So I break it into 3 pieces. And then on the bottom, I should have 6 pieces. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 whole, 1 whole, 1 whole. So I have 2 under each one. Each one is worth a half. And I need to circle 5 of them, or shade in 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 1 whole, 2 whole, and 1/2 shaded. 2 and 1/2. All right? Okay. And in a second, I'm going to show you where we run into problems with this model. But this model isn't bad. It's just not as easy or as flexible as the 2 separate pictures model. So in your notes, you had this picture. Let's try one of the notes. So 2/6 of 2. So I shade in 2/6 of both pictures. 2/6 plus 2/6 gives me 4/6. And 4/6 simplifies into 2/3. On the bottom, I need to shade 2 of the 6. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I shade 2 of them. So 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. All right? Pretty simple. So now look at this one, 3/4 of 3. And this is where things get a little tricky with this model down here. So I got 3 whole, and each one is cut into fourths. 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 gives me 9/4. And 9/4 equals 2 and 1/4. But look down here. We have 1, 2, 3 whole, and I broke it into 4 pieces. So I know I have 2 whole covered, but how much is this little piece worth right here? We really can't tell based on the model because it's not the whole 1/4, is it? It isn't the whole 1/4. So it's only a piece of that, but it doesn't look very clear. But the answer is 2 and 1/4, even though it doesn't look like it's 1/4. If you cut this into 4 pieces, you would see that this much is shaded, and that is exactly 1/4. Okay? All right. So you are going to practice with your group these 7 problems. When you are done, you will bring it to me and I will check it. And then you will go ahead and start your extra math and then your homework. All right? If you have questions, come and see me and I will answer them for you. Please rewatch the video if you need to. And best of luck, guys.